guys, Meredith with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're checking out the AFE Momentum GT Cold Air Intake with the Pro Dry S filter in black, fitting all 2019 and newer 6.4 liter Ram 2500s. Now this will be a great supporting mod to your build if you're looking for increased airflow, better performance, and better efficiency out of your truck. It will also be great for easy maintenance for long-lasting performance if you're tired of replacing your factory filter and just throwing it out, and you want a system that you can clean and reuse, which will actually save you a couple bucks in the long run. I would also recommend this to the Ram owner who wants a little more protection to the filter on the inside of their engine bay compared to heat shield options, especially if their truck sees a little more off-road time, or you simply want more protection from any and all heat that may potentially get to your filter. I would also want to note that this is not going to be CARB certified, so just keep that in mind when you are shopping around if you live in an emission restrictive state. Now the biggest benefit from this system is eliminating factory restriction, which this is going to outflow the factory system. Now one of the reasons being is that the unobstructed and the large intake tube in the high flow Pro Dry S filter. The filter will not only help with additional airflow, but it's also going to, again, be reusable, so you're not going to have to worry about replacing it every couple thousand miles or so like the factory one, while getting better filtration in the meantime for cleaner air going into your intake manifold. The housing here will also have a nice clear sight window up on top, which will let you keep an eye on your filter for maintenance without having to disassemble the entire thing, and it also gives you some nice branding up there with the AFE logo. It will also be a one-piece design, which is very protective compared to the factory airbox, and will have a large opening here for all of that air to allow it to get in directly to the filter. Breaking down this kit's construction, starting off with the filter here, this will be AFE's 3-layer synthetic media filter, which will offer really good efficiency, again improving the flow, and it's going to have a high dust hold capacity. This will also include a large intake tube and a one-piece housing, like I mentioned. Both of these are going to be heat resistant, made of a cross-linked polyethylene material, which is essentially just a tough plastic. It's going to ensure that the housing and the intake tube are going to remain heat soak resistant and incredibly durable underneath the hood, so no hot air is going to get to your filter, so you can keep that air coming in cooler and more dense. This will also come with all the necessary hardware in order to install it, and you're getting stainless steel clamps with a T-style bolt, which is going to be higher quality, and the silicone coupler will be high heat resistant, so it's going to resist any cracking or wear over time. This will be right in the middle with pricing at around $450. Now usually with more in-depth kits like this that are going to offer a little bit more protection to the filter rather than just a heat shield, while also including some other benefits like the sight window up on top, will be a little bit pricier just because there's more to the design, which I think is an added bonus if you want to invest in a more protective system. I don't think that you can go wrong with the extra protection if you know that you'll need it. You prefer a dry filter over an oiled option that may require a little bit more maintenance than this, and you want a trusted system with proven performance numbers to benefit your truck. Install will be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it should take you about an hour to get the job done with some basic hand tools. Now speaking of the install, one of our customers here has installed this on their Ram and is going to walk you through what that process looks like step by step. So that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
Tools required are 8mm and a 10mm nut driver, which are these two up front. 11mm, it calls for a deep socket. I don't have a deep socket, so I'm gonna have to make it work with the short stubby one. I'm gonna use a pry tool for pulling these caps. All right, delivery day, we got our AFE power intake. We're gonna put it on a 2024 Ram 2500 Power Wagon with the 6.4 liter V8. All right, first step is remove the engine cover. Alright. Engine cover removed. Disconnect the temperature sensor clip. There's a little push tab here. You gotta push that back to unclip it, to remove it. And then I gotta disconnect this hose. All right, so this clamps down over it. There's little metal teeth in here. I don't know if you can see it. There's little metal teeth that clamp in and just bite over that. All right. All right, and hose is disconnected. And show right here, I'll be loosening these 6 screws. One here, here, here. 2 on that side, 2 on that side, I'm assuming. Alright, there's a little ring track that this will go around. Alright, that came off pretty easy. Remove the stock inlet duct, which is this. All right. All right. $14 in total removed. Cover removed, and this should be 2 bolts. All right, and this is where the 11 millimeter comes in. Excuse me, the 10 millimeter. All right.
No.
3 grommets removed. All right, so we got our box. We took it out of the plastic, and the directions want us to replace the 3 grommets that we took out of our old one. All right, so according to the way these came out, the large portion goes to the bottom. So our box is upside down. I'm gonna insert one, just slides in. Step 12, remove the entire stock CCV line. Okay, so that's the line up here. I'll show you. All right, and it pulled up fairly easy. All right, we're on step 13 and 14. Install the supplied fitting number 14 into one end of the supplied silicone hose as shown above. Not that it matters the direction, I am assuming. So we'll have that end in, and I will grab that drop down elbow of the part we just removed. The elbow. Got a rubber grommet here. And we're gonna wanna install that grommet into the intake tube. And same as before, get one end started and kind of push it around. All right, that's that. All right, so this is the part that we removed. I don't know if you can see. There's two different sides of the short side and a longer side that will hook in here, and once you twist it on, just be mindful of that. So that's it. It's got a little catch on it. Not sure the orientation yet, but the clip will be facing towards me. It all depends on how you put that little plastic ring in there. And the grommets are down all the way. Install the stock air scoop. Doesn't state in the directions. I didn't read in the directions where it stated we're gonna have to remove this, but you're gonna have to remove the drop down intake portion that goes to your factory, and it's just pressed in with these little tabs. So this would be one. And you can see I just did the two sides and it wanted to pop out on its own. There's two on the opposite end, picked two and held one with my finger and pushed the other one with a screwdriver, and easy peasy. So now I'm gonna reinsert my intake. This will have to go on the outside. Or does it? Yes. Alright. Same thing, you got two tabs on the housing from the AFE intake. You're going to want to make sure those two are seated in the same location as the stock one. And I have it that way. And then I'm going to reinstall my mounting screws for the stock intake. And to do this, to get them started, it's the 10 millimeter. Start them both by hand so I can ensure they start correctly and I'm not cross-threading it, because I don't want to have to buy bolts. And it's tight. We're going to install the largest T-bolt clamp, and I'm assuming this is what they mean by the T-bolt. Now it wants me to install the air filter into the housing, and note when you take the air filter, it does have its own T-bolt and it is loose. You're gonna have to work that around. Not very hard. Put your hand on the little threads in there, and they're not threads, they're little ribs. That's all I did, was push on the little ribs around and it went in fairly easy. Alright, mindful of my T-band orientation. Not sure once I'm done if that's gonna stay in the same spot or not, but at any rate I want it accessible. Alright, so this coupler is gonna get installed. I might need to find a deep socket. You will need a deep socket. This is little stubby's not going to work. You can see the length here of the bolt, and I'm not even near as tight as I need to be. I'm going to switch to an 11 millimeter open end wrench. All right, my speed wrenches, of course I don't have an 11 and a speed wrench, so. All right, I don't know what the torque value of that would be, but it's pretty tight. Little bit of movement at the T-bolt connection side, but the clamp itself is not loose, and I've got a lot of tension. I mean, I'll throw a couple more cranks on it. All right, so it wants us to install this other clamp, leaving it loose, and install. All right, installed onto the boot, and then I'm gonna try and force it in. All right, best installation advice I can give you on that is to insert into the boot first, leaving it overhanging a little bit on the just off the box, and then once you get this seated, I still left it loose, but then I was able to manipulate it over into the filter housing, and that worked very easy. Now I got to tighten all the clamps. Okay. Before I tighten it up too much, I'm just gonna make sure my seal at the bottom, there's no gap. All right, so bit more hose than I need. I did have to reroute the tube under the two lines that were here. It does also state it in the instructions to go under it. It looks like a little excess. If I ever put in a secondary battery box, I might have to cut and put in some elbows. I don't know if that'll restrict airflow, but we'll address that when we get there. For the most part, install went very easy. Directions kept us in line. You will need an 11 millimeter deep socket, or I believe I used a 7/16 to get it tight, and then I had to go back over it with my wrench just to make sure. A little bit of slipping towards the end, but all in all, everything went smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the cowl, put that back on, and the last thing to install is gonna be this boot that goes in here, if you so choose to put it in. Max Airflow says leave it out, but I live in a dusty area, so I go ahead and install that so I don't have to do excess maintenance. We'll start it up without it. Alright, pops right back in. I'm gonna start with the two in the back so I don't forget. And I'm gonna make sure that that little indent, in case I ever have to undo this, is facing the back so I can access it to pull it off.
wrap it up for my review and the install of this AFE Momentum GT cold air intake with the ProDry S filter in black, fitting all 2019 and newer 6.4 liter Ram 2500s. And you can find this right here at AmericanTrucks.com.